Hello and welcome to this video on OTQ techniques. And I've decided to record a video on OTQ techniques because the case studies are all out of the way now. The results due in a few weeks, and so many of you will be thinking about moving on to more objective test exams. And some of you watching this video may never have sat an objective test exam. You've gone through the gateway method of going through the management case study, for example. And the objective tests are really actually quite a difficult exam, and there is a technique that I often suggest to students which will help sit the exam more effectively, or help you sit the exam more effectively. And if you like this video, if you enjoy this video and you want to watch more, then please do like the video and also subscribe to the Astranti video series at the bottom of your screen. So with the objective test exams, you have 60 questions and you have 90 minutes. So that's very, very tight. That's only a minute and a half per question. And looking at some of the questions, you may think, how am I going to answer that many in that amount of time? Because some of them take a minute just to read. And so what I suggest to students is to follow a three-step approach to the objective test exam. And the first step is to get the quick wins. So what the quick wins involves is going through every single question on the exam paper, all 60 questions, very, very quickly, and skim reading. And if you look at it and you notice that this is a topic that you're good at, or it's a short question or an easy question, then answer the question there and then. If you can answer it very, very quickly, answer it there and then. However, if you don't think you can answer it, or at least you don't think you can answer it quickly, flag it on the little screen that you get on the top of the Pearson VUE system, and we'll come back to that later. And so you go through all 60 questions and you get all the quick wins, all the marks you definitely know you can get, because you can answer those questions easily. What you don't want is to go through in a linear fashion, one after the other, get to about 2-3 minutes left and be on question 45. And now you haven't got the time to look through those remaining 15 questions. And there's probably going to be some of those questions you definitely could have answered if you just had a moment to look at them. So that's the first step. Go through all 60 questions, get all the questions answered that you can answer very quickly there and then, flag the ones that you can't. Then we go back to the beginning in step 2, and we go through and we review all the flagged questions. And now we can feel confident in providing some more time, giving some more time to those questions, because we've got those quick wins in the bag, so to speak, in the bank. So now we can spend a bit more time. We can perhaps spend up to 2 minutes per question, because hopefully you will have not used up too much time going through in step 1. But be strict with yourself as well. Don't spend more than 2 minutes per question. And you may think, well, I've already spent 2 minutes. It would be a shame to just scrap it and move on. I could have just moved on 2 minutes ago. Yes, you could. But if you just can't get the question, then move on. The pass mark is around 70%. So that does mean that you only need 42 out of 60 to pass this exam. So just because you can't get one question right or a few questions right doesn't mean you're not going to pass the exam. But what will cause you to not pass the exam is to spend so much time on certain questions. So that's step 2, is to then go through and review all the ones that you had flagged on the first time around. Spend about 2 minutes really analysing the question. If you can't get it, move on. And then again, we've gone through 60 questions, or we've gone through the remaining amount of questions that we didn't get right the first time. And then we go back again for the third time and we put an answer for everything. So this is for the questions that you just don't understand, that you don't get, that you couldn't get if you spent your whole 90 minutes on them, or if you needed to spend 10 minutes on them, you couldn't get. So you just put an answer for everything. And this also goes for if you have got to the last 5 questions, if you've gone through it in a linear fashion and a minute left and you've got 5 left, just put a mark for everything, because there's no negative marking in the CIMA objective test exam. So it's better to put an answer because if it's a multiple choice with 4 answers, you've got a 25% chance of getting it right. But always put the same number for each one. So for example, if you've got 5 questions left, there's 5 multiple choice questions, all A, B, C, D. Don't just randomly select one unless it's clear that that one isn't the right answer. Just select A every single time, because that's the better percentage chance, because otherwise you're guessing and you're gambling by putting A for this one and B for this one and D for the other one. So that's my approach for the objective test exam. It's a very difficult exam. It's very difficult to answer all 60 questions, to get all 60 questions right in that time. So really you need to work as efficiently as possible. And that's the whole purpose of the 3-step process that I've just suggested there, is that you get all the marks you definitely can get straight away. You then go back and spend time on the ones that you need a bit more extra time. And finally, if all else fails, you just put a mark for everything. But that, over the course of the 60 marks, over the course of the 90 minutes, should yield better results than just going through question after question after question. Because when you do that, students often find they get stuck on a particular question and then they spend so much time on that question. I've spoken to students who have spent 6-7 minutes on a question only to abandon it and move on. And that could be 3 or 4 marks lost if you compare that amount of time, or you contrast that amount of time to a few smaller, simpler questions that they definitely could have gotten right. And so again, going back to that whole quick wins approach, if you get to the last few questions and there's a few that you haven't answered and you just have to put an answer to everything, chances are there was going to be some of those questions you definitely could have gotten right if you just had some time to answer them. So thank you for watching this video. I hope you have enjoyed it and found it useful. If you want to know more, please visit the website www.astranti.com, and also like and subscribe this video here, because as the case studies come out, I'm going to be doing another one of these videos for case study technique.